Right. You want to welcome? Or you want me to welcome?
I already welcomed them. We already have that.
Clouds and chaos.
Hey, look who's back. Welcome home to Clouds and Chaos, where the coffee's never hot, the kids are always loud, and somehow we're still making it work. Whether you're here for laughs, life lessons, or just a little validation, we're so glad you found your way back.
Right. You want to welcome? Or you want me to welcome?
I already welcomed them. We already have that.
Okay.
Welcome back, y'all.
Welcome back.
You can obviously tell that we're new at this, but we hope that you just come along with us on this journey while we navigate how to continue the communication and love that we have for our relationship. I think one of the reasons why we started this podcast, or have been trying to start this podcast for months now, it took until me getting knee surgery and being immobile for me not to go anywhere, for me to actually record these episodes with him. I think we started this podcast really just to reconnect with each other. We've been married for 17 years this year, and just between all the chaos of working and kids and, PTO and trying to start your business, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We're just trying to connect with each other and also put this out into the world for other couples who might just be feeling the same way that we're feeling.
Or anybody. It doesn't even have to be couples, honestly.
Truth.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance, go back. Episode 0, if you haven't had a chance, that's where we talk about why we're doing this, what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. If you haven't heard that, check that vibe. Basically today, what we're talking about, or what we want to acknowledge, is that people feel broken and kind of over it. The feeling is we feel alone, in different ways. I was watching a YouTube video, a podcast, and I saw a comment on there of a guy that was just talking about how he's never found love. He doesn't really have anything to look forward to. Like, he just goes to work and comes home and that's it. And I think he said he was like 39 years old. So we're here living through this world, and all we really want is some kind of connection, some deep connection with people. And I called it out in a reply to his comment saying, like, look, I found love early. I was lucky. I found love early. I have a family. I have people that I'm surrounded by that love me and, see me for me. But I still have that same feeling of being alone too, right? Like, it's not just one person or one person feeling that way. It's a lot of people.
Well, like you said, like, it's that feeling of being alone can feel different for other people. It can feel light for some people. Like, hey, I'm just kind of feeling lonely today. Or it can feel really heavy, where every day you're carrying this big burden, this big rock that just screams, I'm alone. And you just want someone to help carry that rock for you, or help break up that rock for you so that you can carry smaller pieces and whatnot. And it's all about finding out how heavy is that aloneness for you, and also what can you do as well to not feel so alone. I mean, sometimes it's not always, nothing we're going to talk about in these podcasts are going to be facts. We're not therapists or anything like that. We're just two humans who have been through different ordeals on our own and different ordeals with each other. And we're definitely going to have different perspectives, I think, on some of these things, and not that I know we're going to have different perspectives on how we fight these battles with aloneness and things like that. So,
yeah, I think so. Today we're talking about the kind of tired sleep doesn't touch, right? And I think the most important thing that we can start with is defining that exhaustion. What kind of tired are you carrying, right? For me, dealing with ADHD, my mind literally always on fire, always trying to figure things out. You know me, I'm always researching something. There's always something that I want to do. And I realized the older I've gotten, I'm 37, I'm middle-aged now, which is crazy to think.
Yeah, midlife crisis, here we come for you.
Right.
It's for you. I'm good. I'm good over
that. And I look back on my life and I look through and I'm like, yes, we're raising amazing, strong, beautiful children. But what else have I added to the world? Which honestly is why I've taken on a lot of the projects that I've taken on is, with writing the resistance papers and trying to put my thoughts out there and my feelings about what's going on in the world. Because this is the world that we are giving our children eventually, right? So that's, I think, at least for me, the exhaustion that I run through every day is that constant, my brain never turns off. I'm always trying to figure something out, and I can't always figure everything out.
I think as millennials as well, we carry a different type of tired right now. We've come between two generations, a generation that got, if you do X, Y, and Z, if you do A, B, and C, you get X, Y, and Z, right? And for the most part, that's what has worked out for them. To the generation after us who their minds are so wrapped up in social media,
going viral,
and all of these things that they're disconnect from reality. So coming from a generation that was really connected into like this reality that was given for them, and it was easy for them to get that in some ways. And I'm just talking basic stuff here, to a generation after us that just doesn't understand like all the things that we've seen. I mean, we've survived the end of the world a few different times, right?
Literally, we're working on our like 23rd end of the world situation.
Like pandemics and recessions and the economy and student loans and, all of the repercussions from the generation before us saying like, oh yeah, if we do all of this stuff, this is what we're going to get, not thinking about the consequences that it's going to lay off into the future. And now as millennials, we've taken all of that on, and now we're just trying to shield that from our kids and the next generation so they don't have to feel this kind of tired. But are we doing a disservice by just holding on to all of it and just being like, oh yeah, we're so strong, like we've been through all of this, we're Gucci? Are we doing a disservice to ourselves, and are we doing a disservice to our future generations by not focusing and honing in on the type of tired that we're carrying so that we can get rest for that kind of tired? Because like you said, it's the kind of tired that sleep's not touching. So no matter how much you're sleeping, no matter how much you're resting, no matter how much you're self-caring, if you're not like digging deep into what type of tired you're carrying, it's just only going to grow, it's only going to make your tank more empty.
Yeah, true. You said something that made me think about like millennials specifically. Like we're coming into that age now where we should be taking things over, right? We should be stepping into positions of power. And I guess for me, I don't think I've ever felt so far away from positions of power now. And yes, there are some millennials that are coming up and stepping into those roles. And then on top of that, like, I think one thing that isn't talked about a lot is the differences in gender exhaustion too, because I think that feels different for different people.
Yeah.
Right. So your exhaustion is going to be different than my exhaustion. You carry different things than I carry.
For sure. Like you said, you're carrying on the research that you're doing and trying to start your business, and you're focus is more future oriented, I feel. And
building. That's really, I feel like I'm in a building phase.
And mine is like, I don't know, in the moment. I feel like you're kind of doing the building plans, and I'm doing some of that physical building right now with our kids, with doing like the PTO and working right now while you're finishing up school and things like that. And that can be like, tiring in its own way from my point of view of watching you try to build stuff for the future, and I'm here with the tools right now and just trying to keep the house foundation up, that we're currently in, that can definitely, make a difference.
Do you feel like I leave you behind in some ways because of that?
Yeah. Sometimes it just feels like I said, like your focus, and it's not a bad focus. I don't think it's a bad focus at all to be thinking of our future and what we're going to be taking over and whatnot. And I, like you told me the other day, like I'm pouring from a broken cup. So I resonated with that and have been thinking about that for like the past couple of days. And I guess that like, it's true. I'm like, I have this cup that's broken. It's got leaks, and one leak is the kids and one leak is the PTO stuff. And there's just a bunch of little leaks and cracks that I feel that whatever I'm pouring back into myself, it just immediately gets taken out to these different leaks, right? So like, oh, okay, I went and got my nails done. I went and got a massage and a pedicure. I came home and now the kids need dinner, baths, clothes for the next day and whatnot. All that self-care just went out to that leak, right? Like I took a couple of days off of work. Things have been great, but now there's a PTO event to run and whatnot. So all of that self-care is just like continuously going in and out.
I think that's also the point of like self-care in itself has to be a recurring thing. Like you constantly have to keep finding ways to fill your cup up, and each person's going to be different with that, right?
Yeah.
But you have to take that time to find the things that do fill your cup up. And in your case, like you're physically broken, and that in a way, and I meant that, like your cup is broken on the side, like it's leaking things out. So even if you are doing self-care, you're filling up a cup that's literally draining as you're filling it up. But I think one thing that I noticed with you, and I noticed with a lot of people, but like people don't always see that tired because you put on such a brave face for everybody. Everybody sees when you walk into a room, you command attention, and you don't do it on purpose. You just naturally do that. You have a natural gift to just vibe, and people immediately sense that. And I think that's the tricky part, or the dangerous part, is there's that tired that people see, and then there's the tired that hides underneath, right?
Yeah, for sure. Side note, do you know how old the oldest millennial is right now?
How old?
44.
Disgusting.
We're not far from that.
No.
You realize that. But when you say like, we're about to like be taking things over.
Yeah.
Like the oldest millennial, the youngest millennial is 29 and the oldest millennial is 44.
It's a pretty big gap.
It is a pretty big gap.
Well, at 44, so how old was Obama when he became president? He was like upper 40s, right? So we're millennials are getting to that age.
Yeah, we're like getting
we're
to that
right
takeover
there.
stage, but we have all these, sorry if you are one of them, what I'm about to say, we have these dinosaurs who just don't want to give it up, right? They don't want to retire. It's their time to retire. It's their time. So like when I think about it, like when I think about my mom and, her role now as a Nana, and I'm 36, and so thinking about my mom always seemed, I never really thought of my mom in her 30s, right? Or in her 20s or 30s or 40s. She's always kind of been that same age to me, of kind of like late 40s. I don't know, it's weird. She's so young and vibrant, but you never really think about your parents being in their 30s, right? But like the truth is, where we are right now, that's where my parents were with young kids, right? But think about all the things they got to take us to do and stuff at this age. And then for us, we're still sometimes, it's not something, we're living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, it just is what it is. And partly from our own financial mistakes and things. We got married when we were 19 and 20, when we thought we were adults and we knew everything, right? And we were still kids. Our frontal, our frontal lobe can't say it, whatever. It wasn't developed yet, right? So we were making all of these adult married decisions that we really had no business making. And those are some of the repercussions that we're still dealing with to this day. And we just want more for our kids. And so I think that's another type of tired for us, is that we're just trying to scramble to make up for lost time or to get to where, we want to be in order to give our kids the life that they deserve.
Do you think things have obviously changed as we've gone on? Technology has boomed. I mean, the AI race is happening now before our eyes. Like, I don't feel like the same challenges that our parents dealt with. And I have to keep in mind too, my parents were a little bit different for your parents, because remember when we got married, my mom was our age that we are now.
Yeah.
Literally.
I know.
So, technically she said she was 29.
Yeah.
When we met, but it was like 36, I think. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like we're not built for this as humans. We're just not built for this. We have hustle culture, financial anxiety that we've already talked about. Social media burnout is real. Our parents didn't have to deal with that, at all. And their parents definitely didn't have to deal with that.
No, I mean, and to be fair, and to not to downplay anything, that, they had their own things generationally that they had to deal with. My dad did sit in the back of the bus. Like, my dad did get hosed with fire hydrants or, fire hoses and stuff like that.
I mean, that is the times that he lived in is crazy. Like, just being able to know somebody that lived through in Alabama.
Yeah.
Through the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Like, it reminds me that we aren't that far away from that.
No, we're not far away from
that. That's not that far away. People are still alive.
They had to deal with, those things. But we right now are all dealing with plates that are just way too full. And it's not that just our plates are too full. It's that we can't eat what's on our plates fast enough before more stuff gets piled on.
Yep.
And so we're just full and overworked and just overcompensating and overstimulated all the time. There's never really a day. At least for me, I always tell people, like, for me, every day is a Monday. Between all the things and some of the stuff that I choose to do, I don't have to be on the PTO. I do it for my kids. I'm working right now for you, to go through school. I dropped some things off of my plate to make things a little bit easier. But every day's a Monday. There's no more kind of 9 to 5, take a summer vacation, with your family stuff, unless you have the money to do so. And not just like the money to do so, disposable money to do so.
Yeah. And there are more and more people that are literally living paycheck to paycheck. It's a constant battle.
And so I think that's like kind of where your and my disconnect has been coming from lately, because, you're doing all this research and doing all this stuff and realizing like, what's coming for us and stuff. And I'm here like that SpongeBob meme, just trying to like keep the fires out, keep the kids, distracted from all of this. Like we have kids at the school that our girls go to, worried that their parents might get picked up and they may never see their parents again, right? Like kids who don't know, like if they stop the free and reduced food for every kid, there are going to be some kids who don't get to eat because on paper it may say like, yeah, you can afford food, you can afford all of this stuff, but you can't because you have all of these bills, and grocery prices aren't getting any lower and stuff like that too as well.
I think that's what really sucks.
And I think that's just another reason why that type of tired that sleep doesn't fix is not something that's going to be fixed, if ever, at this point. You know, we can do the things we could do to cope every day, just to try to give ourselves like that energy and that passion to move forward and to like go after our dreams and stuff. But like,
well, I think there are ways that we can take back some form of control. But I think it comes back to, and the thing I've really been digging into, especially with like my resistance papers, I know you haven't read them yet, but a lot of that is really, I found the older I get, the more I realize everything comes back to community. And that's something that we don't really do a lot these days, right? Like, how many people can say that they know their neighbors, that they hang out with their neighbors?
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, with my family at least, like, that was your childcare. That was your people that you leaned on when things were
Summertime
tough.
Came out and y'all went out on your bikes all day long till the porch lights came on.
Hanging out with my cousins, right? And spending time with them. And I was the oldest, so I would be the one kind of watching them when everybody was working. That was the norm back then.
Yeah.
We don't really have that kind of space to be able to recover anything. So we have to find ways to be able to make that space with what we have now. Real quick, before we go farther, I think this is a good time just to jump in with this totally real, not made up ad. And we'll be right back after this.
Sounds good.
Welcome to Self-Care Land, where the bubble baths are never ending and the emotional labor is part of the fun. Take a spin on the burnout carousel, drift down the guilt trip tunnel, and don't forget to stop by our exclusive overthinking coaster, now featuring existential dread drops. Remember, the park never closes. And yes, you're still responsible for everyone else's happiness. Enjoy your stay.
Welcome back from that totally real, totally valid sponsor that you just heard from. Justin?
Yes.
Are you ready to learn about yourself?
Always. I'm always about that life.
Okay, we'll see.
For real, though.
So I think now let's try to get into the emotional truth of it all. I think where we just kind of both dig into what happens when we don't name the tired.
It's very real. I think for me, and this is something I only realized lately. Like I didn't know this before. I didn't really learn this before. I guess with age, get wisdom. Learn new things.
As your beard gets grayer, the more you learn.
This is exactly true. Yes. But I feel like when I don't name my tired, like bad things happen. And not bad things to people around me. Usually it's me like shutting down completely. Like I want to be completely alone. And I like my alone time a lot. Like I like to just research and focus on my projects and stuff like that. But when I'm really like that kind of tired, like I just shut completely down. You've seen it before. Like I shut down completely. And you're usually one of the only people that can even take me out of the shutdown.
'Cause I'm a-
You are pretty amazing. It's true. But we just work with each other, right? Like we feed off each other's energy.
But what does that feel like for you? Like, talk me through your shutting down process. Have you been able to, 'cause I know like we've talked about it, like finding what triggers the shutdown process. Have you thought any more about that?
Yeah, a little bit. I think I don't focus on fixing things in the moment. I usually let things stack up until it gets too much to handle everything, and then I just shut down. So it could just be that one little thing that just pushes me over, and it's like you've seen that before. Like it could be that one little thing that sends me off, and I just shut down. But it's all those little things adding up that you didn't see before that led to that shutting down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think that goes into a whole nother process for me of feeling like I don't have it all together. Like that feeling of shame. Like I should have all of this together. I should be able to figure this out. I'm how old now? I need to, pick myself up. As the Army instilled in me all those years ago, it was like, just rub some dirt in it and get back up. Keep moving.
Yeah. We've talked about it before, though, too. There's no set timeline on our life. There's no blueprint. There's no book. Like, we don't have a book that's titled Justin's book or Kellie's book or Leo, Mikey, Donnie, or Ralph's book. None of us have none of us have access to our book, our soul book, right? That has our soul timeline. That's all drawn out for us and how the universe works, in my opinion. We don't have access to those books. We are just formulating the chapters as best as we can with the knowledge that we have. But I feel for you, like as the man, as the husband, head of, quotation marks, head of household right now, the different pressures that you stack on top of each other come from society telling you that you must do this, you must provide in that way, you must break your back and go to work and miss time with your kids and make the money so that your family can live a good life. Like, well, what about you? Why don't you get to live some of that good life? Why don't you get to have the vacations with us? Where's your reward for all of your hard work? I think that's been one of the biggest things for us in this last 2.5 years, almost, of transitioning from being, the full-time worker to not, and going back to school full-time online and morphing into the stay-at-home dad role, which is becoming increasingly more popular.
True.
I don't know if you've noticed.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed.
TikToks and TikTok creators and things like that are of these dads who are, and I don't want to say playing Mr. Mom, because that just plays back into the gender stereotypes of like man must work, woman must cook, type of vibe, where I think, as millennials, we're breaking that generational curse of having to, of what a quote unquote normal family should look like. Families come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes and stuff these days, but to get back onto it. So yeah, you like to shut down, and I know you like to say that I like to tighten up control when things get messy, and you're not wrong, but I don't think that you're totally right either on that. I think the truth is I don't crave control because I like it. I reach for it when things feel like they're slipping. It's not my personality, really. It's my survival skill. But I think as long as you've known me, I've been in like fight or flight survival mode for, I don't know, for as long as I can remember. And so when the chaos tries to ramp up, I try to organize, and I'm not an organized person. It's like I'm type A, I'm type B, I don't know, it's like I'm type C, right? Like I just have a kind of a mixture of all of it. And then when I feel like when people drop the ball, I pick it up and I start juggling the flaming ones too, right? When I see that happening, I can just see it happening in my mind. Like when people are like dropping the ball with something, or sometimes when they're not doing it my way, which I feel like is the right way to do it, I'm just like, whatever, I'll take over it and I'll do it, even if it's on fire and it's swords and I'm trying to juggle it, you know? It's like when I'm overwhelmed, I overfunction like it's a full-time job, basically.
Yeah. Kind of learned that the hard way too when I was in leadership. People managing is one of those things, like, you can't do everything. And you're in a leadership role as the president of the PTO. Like, you can't handle, like last year, I still to this day, I don't know how you pulled off all the things that you did. And I know that there was help, so I'm not trying to take away from anybody that was helping you along the way, but like the amount of stuff that you picked up and ran with and figured out was amazing. On top of, you know, handling the family and the kids and me when I'm shutting down and trying to, you know, pick me back up and get me back in the game. Do you feel like, you know, with that, is there like a form of resentment on your part? Like, I'm not picking up enough?
No, not right now. I mean, there's a little bit of resentment when it comes to, like, when we had switched from me working full time to you being the stay-at-home parent, the household parts of things. I think that was really hard for you to, like, let go of that, like, or to pick up and be like, you have to do the things around the household too as well, because I at one point was working 4 jobs, you know, just trying to make sure that you could go to school and do the things. And so when I would come home and things were like chaotic at home, it was frustrating because I never felt like I could actually come home and rest, but I needed to come home and do the home stuff too in order to relax, because the 5 of you can live in complete chaos in this house and be fine. But I see every little, like, thing about it. But I don't hold much resentment, because we chose this path that we've been on for the past couple of years, with you going back to school and me working. And we're so close to that finish line. You know, you're done with school in December, and through all of working through my injuries and doing all the stuff that I was doing, I'm proud of myself for all that I carried. But, you know, here I am now kind of living the consequences of carrying so much that was really heavy to carry. Because, like...
Do you think that's why your meniscus tore? Because you were carrying so much?
No. Well, I mean, I think my injury got worse. I think that's why my recovery right now is a little bit longer. Yeah. Because I got hurt, and a couple months later went to a full-time, you know, bartending serving gig at a place that you have to walk around, and I was pulling like 50, 60-hour weeks. Yeah. You know, while doing so, while still taking care of the kids and taking the kids places, and then getting back into the school year and doing PTO stuff. And, you know, this year it slowed a little bit down with you getting the part-time job and your VA stuff, like, starting to, you know, to come through. It's taken a lot of pressure off, right? So I've been able to slow down. But when I was going so fast and going through it, there was no time to, like, hurt, you know? And then once things, like, really started to slow down, my body was like, yoo-hoo, big summer blowout. You know? And so now I'm dealing with wanting to keep moving so fast and wanting to keep carrying it all. But I need to heal and I need to rest, because, like, you're getting back in the game now, right? Yeah. That's why I feel this immense pressure to make my business successful. And a lot of people, I mean, luckily I have a lot of experience prior to this that I was able to kind of build out, kind of learning from lessons that people have to usually learn going into business, right?
I was able to learn that with, you know, the decade of experience that I had with the previous job.
Yeah.
So a lot of people fail in their first couple of businesses that they run. That's just the way it is most of the time. And I feel like I'm in a really good place to be able to move into this now, but I feel myself now getting closer to the end of school and carrying that pressure. I know what this is all about is really naming those things. I know, like, me just naming that now, it almost is like a form of survival for me of like, yes, there's pressure. Yes, it's there. But being able to like have these conversations with you and being able to like speak it out in front of you and tell you like really how I'm feeling and what I'm going through, I think it helps me be able to like survive a little bit more, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I talk to you all the time about how we need to, you know, talk these things out. Like when you're shutting down and I'm spiraling like a tornado, having these moments to connect with each other and talk those things out. That's how we grow. And I mean, we can attest to, it's been 17 years now that we've been married, and people look at us and they're like, oh my God, your relationship's so great. Like, we hope we could be like you guys one day and whatnot. And they don't know the real and the raw things that we have been through together over these 17 years, trying to grow up and grow together. That's such a hard thing to do when you get married so young.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, people, quote unquote, in normal times, in our age, probably have only been married anywhere from 5 to 10 years, right? We've been together almost, soon in a few years, we've been together longer together than we've been without each other.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing. You're an amazing father. You're an amazing husband. Your mind is so smart and so sharp. And it gets frustrating for me when I see you shut down, because I know how amazing and how capable you are of things. And that's, you know, my form of control is just trying to get you to be like, no, you're fucking amazing. I need you to see that, you know, and that's not always the right thing to do for you when you're shutting down. But I do want you to know and to see how amazing you are. And none of our mistakes, none of the things that you and I have been through on our own defines who we are going to be tomorrow. And just taking, you know, each day, step by step, and just trying to be better than who we were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. I just thought of something. It's interesting that, you know, there's this bridge of, you know, the old school things, right? And like the new school things, where we have all of these things in the world now, social media and all those things that we named earlier that we have to deal with. But also with our love, you don't see people married this long usually anymore. It's kind of an old school, kind of traditional sense, which I'm not saying our relationship is traditional in any way, shape, or form. I mean, 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago, our love was illegal.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago that we couldn't have been a thing back then without breaking the law. And there were people that definitely did that, paving the way for us to be able to have that. I guess for me, this journey that we're on, especially with this podcast, this isn't weakness, you know, it's survival mode pretending to be normal.
Yeah. I think it's just time that we get out of that survival mode of pretending to be normal, because we're not normal. I mean, normal is boring. There's so much more to us. There's so much more to our family, so much more to our girls than just being normal. I think it's time to kind of shed what society wants us to be and just start being who we are.
Yeah, I
so
agree.
We can keep progressing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's a lot out there that makes us feel like we're broken, but we're not. Like, the more I see, there's a lot of people out there that feel the same way that we do.
I think about that all the time. Like, you know, we're in our own reality where you can see what's in front of us. We're in our own bubbles, but there's so many other people going through the same thing. And there's so many people out there who are just trying to keep it together, who just keep the facade up, who just keep the smile on their faces, but they're just as broken. And not that being broken is bad. There's nothing bad about being broken. They say like broken crayons still color, right? Being broken just means that you're able to be fixed up in a way to be something more beautiful. And sometimes you have to break completely just to be fixed for your next phase of your life. So right now I think we should slow it down. We're gonna offer up some space here. There's no jokes, just presence. You know, we're not broken, we're just tired. Pretending that we're not tired. So I just want to encourage everyone right now just to take a couple of deep breaths. And just sit in the silence for a moment. Whether you're taking a walk outside right now, whether you're driving in your car, whether you're a mom in her headphones trying to clean up the kitchen while your children are running feral. Let's just take a little bit to breathe.
If I can take it a step farther too, when you pause here, I would really challenge you to really think and name, even if you have to do it out loud, like name that tiredness, name you're tired, name whatever it is and put it out there. All right. Well, that is the end of episode 1.
Wow, we did it.
We did do it.
When we say we've been trying to record, I don't know, Justin came up with the idea for this podcast
Like 2 months ago.
about 2 months ago, but in true clouds and chaos form. It took a minute for us to get here, but I'm so glad we're here. I'm so glad that we're doing this podcast. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this together with the love of my life.
The clouds are heavy today, but we're still walking.
Next week, we dig into the blueprint we were all handed and why it's failing us.
Before you go, ask yourself, what kind of tired am I carrying? Cut.
Boom.